Hi, I'm Rachel Basco with Bossier Parish Community College, and today we are going to talk about the cell. The cell is the smallest living thing. If you remember back from our presentation on the levels of structural organization, there are many biochemical reactions occurring in the cell. Those biochemical reactions create things for the cell to use and also for things to be sent out of the cell to communicate with the other cells of the body. The human cells are eukaryotic cells, which means it has a distinct nucleus that contains genetic material. The nucleus is surrounded by a membrane. Also within eukaryotic cells are smaller things, organelles, that are also surrounded by a membrane. Eukaryotic cells can range from 10 to 100 microns or micrometers, and recall that a micron is one millionth of a meter. The purpose of the cell is to make substances to go out to other cells or to keep within the cell to keep it alive. So we can think of the cell as a factory. So on the outside of the cell is the cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane, and it acts like the gatekeeper. The nucleus is usually around the center of the cell, and that is this computer or the brain of the cell. Mitochondria perform activities to create energy. The endoplasmic reticulum is going to make things and then ship them out to the Golgi apparatus, which will package those molecules or macromolecules that are made by the endoplasmic reticulum. So let's start on the outside of the cell, the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. This is the outer boundary of the cell with the orange blobs with the little tails on the inside. It's important that you remember that it has two layers, so it's called a lipid bilayer. One layer here, one layer here. And its job is to literally control things on the outside of the cell to get in, and the things that are made by the cell, how they can get out. The nucleus is the brain of the cell, or in our analogy, it is the computer of the cell. It contains all the blueprints for all the things that the cell is going to make or do. Within the nucleus is the nucleolus and chromatin is what's carrying the DNA. So let's now look at the organelles, the major organelles that we find in most of our human cells. The endoplasmic reticulum comes in two forms. We have the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has these dots on them, gives it a rough appearance, so we call those ribosomes. Ribosomes are going to make proteins. So because the ribosomes are found on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the job of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is to make proteins. The proteins are being assembled in here. They get sent out into the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It's smooth because there are no ribosomes attached, so it has a smooth appearance. Their job is to make lipids or fats. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum makes proteins, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum makes lipids. Those substances are then pinched off and sent over to the Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is described as having sacs. Their job is to take the materials made by the endoplasmic reticulum and package them and ship them out to the outside into the cell to either stay within the cell or be sent out of the cell. So let's take a look at the general process of making material. Here we have the nucleus. The nucleus is going to direct the production of a substance such as protein. So it sends out the signal within here, we need to make protein. As the molecule floats through here, we're going to assemble it and make protein. So down here they're showing how we have pinched off a little packet full of proteins. The protein floats over to the Golgi apparatus, merges and dumps in here. The Golgi apparatus will change it and also then send a package here. And so in this case, this package is merging with the cell membrane. It's opening and dumping its contents to the outer side of the cell. Also within the inside of the cell are lysosomes and peroxisomes. Lysosomes are known as the garbage men of the cell. They will break down any worn out material or things that don't belong there, such as a bacteria. Peroxisomes also do have enzymes that break things down, but they're basically going to break down fatty acids. Very similar functions with these two. Lysosomes are old damaged cells, peroxisomes, fatty acids, which are components of fats. Then we have the mitochondria, known as the powerhouse of the cell. There it's going to create energy for the cell so it can have the energy to function. Also within the cell is cytoskeleton. Just like our skeleton holds us up and gives us support and allows things to move, so does the cytoskeleton. It just does it for the inside of the cell. And that's being shown here as these little red and green strands. This is the nucleus. So here, and it's a lot to see here, but this labels all the parts of the cells that we have talked about. So when you're trying to learn the cell, don't forget to look at it and think of it as the factory of the cell. So I have a worksheet posted for you to help compare the real organelles with the factory analogy to help you to learn the organelles of the cell and their main function as well as their shape.